My name is Noah, and with me once again is my intrepid co-host, Mr. Mikey Chappell. Say hello, Mikey.
Hey, listeners.
Yes. Uh, and I guess right at the top, we'll do a little housekeeping. You didn't hear from us last week, which was kind of fortuitous on multiple levels, but it was a weird week of Primal.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I didn't know how I felt about it right afterwards. And then we had some scheduling issues, which is beside the point. But I said to you through text, I was like, I actually ended up calling you because I was in traffic. But anyways, I was like, I kind of feel like we need to see next week before I know how I felt about dip this little
Yeah.
this little side maneuver that is the Primal Theory, which is episode 5, which we will now be discussing, but we'll probably roll that directly into Vidarr, which was this week's episode 6. So take me back to that week. I know you've had a lot going on in the
Yeah.
interim, but if you can take me back to that headspace, because you did say you were excited to talk about it, but I didn't know if that was a good excited or like a like that emoji. I
Kinda.
know people can't see this, but you know what I mean. The
Yeah, it's
hands, the I don't know, because
yeah.
that's as soon as I saw England and a
Mhm.
date,
Yep.
I was like, I said out loud, I was like, no. I was like, wait a second. This is a terrible idea. Don't do this. I start hearing dialogue, and
Yep.
I rewound the episode because I was just like, oh, okay. I'm talking to myself out loud. Girlfriend's on the couch, and she's like, what's up? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if this is a bad decision. I don't know if this is a terrible move. And then I'm like, dude, like you love all of these creatives. Just wait a second. And I'm literally talking to myself. I'm like, just keep an open mind, dude. Just keep an open mind. See what they're gonna do. See where it goes. So that's how I approached it. But I did have to
Yeah.
do a hard reset right
Yeah.
when the episode started. What
I
about
did
you?
something very similar. But also I've stuck with them this long. It's a two-way street. So I think a lot of it is if you like something, that's like a director, showrunner, creator just asking you, trust us.
Yes.
So I mean
But
they earned it. They earned it at this point. So I was like, okay, I'm in.
okay. I
Yeah.
don't disagree. Yes, they earned it. But I will say this was the most scared I've been watching this show.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
most scared I've been watching this show was the start of that episode when I
Yeah.
was like, don't fuck this up.
The implication that you're about to just risk your biggest, like one of the biggest draws, is just like,
Exactly.
oh
You're
no.
like, this is
Right.
really, really putting your dick on the table. This is
Yeah.
like, and it's in a very vulnerable position.
Yeah.
It could get lopped off at any moment.
If
I'm
it turned
just
out to be a
like
dream, I would have chucked my TV out the window.
that. Okay. Yes. No. Okay. So I was terrified that I was like, are we gonna like is and then I didn't look deeper into this, but obviously we have what I assumed was a Charles Darwin figure
Yes.
who would have, if this was our proper historical timeline, not historical fantasy, which clearly the show is at this point,
Mhm.
he would already be dead. And they don't
Yes.
specifically say Darwin, but I'm like, he looks like an
Yeah.
ape human,
Yeah.
which Darwin kind of did. He had that very like giant forehead, that
There was a whole thing with
Lincoln-esque
the
forehead.
birds too. Yeah.
Yes.
He had like actual bird evolution diagrams. It was, yeah.
So, okay. Setting that all aside, I was like, okay, I like the vibe of this, but I'm telling dude, for the first 5-6 minutes, it was a like I was just seesawing, and I'm like, okay, but I don't know about this. And also I'm actively thinking the whole time, okay, but this is gonna be like just like a little interlude. Like at the commercial break, we'll come back
Yeah.
and we'll be with our characters. And
Yep.
then I was like, oh, they're committing to this.
Yeah.
This is the episode now. Okay, just go with it. And on that level, okay, first of all, the animation style is different.
Mhm.
I didn't mind it. I'm sure it was nice for them to like take a break,
Yep.
change it up a little bit, keep it fresh. Don't get bored doing the same thing. I've seen some people mention, we should mention also from the top, this is all anecdotal. I did not go deep into the Reddit on this one, but from an outward glance, this was by far the most divisive episode of the series thus far. There
Yeah.
were some people who outright hated it. It's the
Yeah.
lowest ranked on IMDb for what
Mhm.
that's worth. That's just kind of a poll of internet type people, if you will, that are following the show. Um, and again, I wanted the context because I was in the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I kind of wanted this. We kind of needed a breather
Yeah.
after the previous episode. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't hate it on that level, but I guess my biggest, and it's not even, I still am warring with how I feel about it. I guess my issue is that it made explicit a lot of the things that you and I were having as conversation points as a natural outgrowth of the show already.
Yeah.
I feel like it was, in a way, doubling down for, I don't want to like audience shame or whatever, but like maybe the dumb people in the audience who like needed it spelled out for them after the previous episode. And I guess that's what it felt like to me, is it's like that I didn't feel like we were saying anything deeper on the themes that we're already exploring
Mhm.
just by adding dialogue to it. And I
Yeah.
liked the regression of like the guy who's like, of course, this whole,
Mhm.
theory of reverting to your primal self, like, no, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
He, the progression down from like they're using guns, then
Mhm.
they're using like bats, and eventually it goes
Yeah.
back to like fisticuffs, and then like eventually a spear. uh I liked that. I liked the visuals. Of course, I mean, it's Genndy Tartakovsky like animation. I enjoyed it on that level of like it's an extended action sequence.
Yeah.
But I was left feeling like I don't know about this. So did you have any issues with that? Like, I does that make any sense? But like, yeah, making the implied explicit, I guess, was my kind of gripe about it. If I'm gonna have one.
Well, when you put it that way. Um, no, I thought it was I didn't mind it. I was very confused. And then in the whole like battle throughout the house sequence, I was like, okay, we're back, like in a sense. And
Right.
I think the entire time I was like questioning, is this like, are we going to find out that like this is an offspring of somebody? This is, like I almost kind of didn't mind that they didn't tie anything back because they just like fully committed to what they were doing.
Right.
Um, I thought there was a couple sequences in there that were really, really smart, but my big takeaway was I don't quite get the point, and I was hoping that that would happen this week. But I'll save that discussion for when we talk about the next episode. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of strange. I did love what I did love was just the very end of it, where the entire thing was just a big
Big punchline.
told you so.
Yeah.
Like I do love that element of it, but yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't know, in a way, I guess to me, and it is, I mean, it's mid-season.
Mhm.
It works as a natural break point, I suppose. But part of this felt to me, I was like, well, if this was running in like October and this was like the Halloween special, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's like it's primal, but it's like this isolated, like
Mhm.
one-off thing. Maybe it goes down a little bit smoother. But I've
Yeah.
seen some people point to the possibility, because they've talked about this in interviews and stuff, that eventually like the show could go off in different directions. It could be more like an anthology, and the idea would
Yeah.
be keep the kind of like the aesthetic of like simple but like beautiful, gory, visceral, uh very little dialogue, but apply it to feudal Japan or World War II or any of these other things that they've teased possibly doing. And I did start to kind of have the thought where I'm
Yeah.
like, well, and this is, I think, maybe a good segue into Vidarr, the next episode. But I was like, I am getting really invested in some of these other characters,
Mhm.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
And the more and more I think about that, I'm like, maybe there is, and with some of the stuff that happens in the episode, it's like maybe there is an end point for our
Yeah.
characters that is not necessarily like to the death, but it's
Mhm.
just like, okay, we leave them in a good spot. This is the end of their
Yeah.
story. And
Mhm.
like season 3 is something completely different. And it's like
Yeah.
it's primal, but it's not that there's no reins on like what that can be.
Yeah.
Another interest, not that we always have to keep pulling these parallels, but the other thing I kept thinking about, do you watch Atlanta?
Yes, I'm not caught up yet, but
Okay.
I've seen the first 2 seasons.
Without spoiling anything, season 3, very
Mhm.
divisive on a lot of fronts. And you'll see this when you go in without spoiling anything. There are a lot of seemingly standalone episodes that have nothing to do with our main cast
Mhm.
and are like more like, yeah, short stories, if you will.
Yeah.
And when they start in the season, I don't want to spoil anything for where things occur, but when they started, people were kind of like, oh, that's interesting, cool, whatever. And then when they kept happening, then it became a point of division where some people were
Yeah.
like, I don't like this. I was not in that camp at all. I
Mhm.
actually thought it was a, just just as incredible as season 2, but in a very different way. Um, can't wait for you to get to it. We can talk about it
Yeah.
more in depth. But it was, so it had this structure throughout the season of like each week you didn't know what you were going to get. It's like, are we hanging out with the characters we know and furthering that story, or are we going off on some like standalone adventure? Who knows? And I loved it in that context.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I sit here and they do one episode that's a little different, and I'm
Mhm.
immediately like, did you guys jump the shark? Did you fuck this up? And I
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm like immediately feeling like that, but I am curious for like, was that it? Was that the
Yeah.
one little tease this season? Or are we going to start threading in other, because that was my one thought, is I was like, here's what I would be okay with, is
Mhm.
if like in this, alt history that we're presented with, this version of England in like 1890 or whatever, um, if they're somehow like they were just telling the story of Spear and Fang,
Yeah.
somehow I would have been like, oh, okay, that explains like the fantastical nature of all this. And then like diving back into the story, it's like I that maybe that alters your perspective on some of the themes we're already exploring. And like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, now I'm trying to like rewrite the show that they're doing. And
Right.
and frankly, we don't know at this point.
Yeah.
So
I'm choosing to withhold judgment until I see the rest of all of it at this point. Uh Must be like it was strange, but I want to see if they do something with it before I decide whether or not I like it.
yeah.
Like if they don't touch it again, I might be a little bit annoyed by it, to be entirely honest. But I feel like if they're hinting at something and then there's a through line that I can't see and then get to discover, then I'll think it was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know.
I
So
I definitely think it is like a flag in the sand, if you will, of some
mhm,
kind. I just don't
yeah.
know what that
Yeah.
means at this point. So,
But either way, that's
okay.
creative writing. Like oh sweet, now I
A-
have to watch the rest of it. Like even if
oh,
you
absolutely.
yeah.
We're like, yeah, is that ever going to come back?
Yeah.
Or is
Now
it
I'm
going to
done.
be like a, Stranger Things season 2 moment where they just quietly like forget
Yep.
about a whole episode that everybody
Mhm.
hated? Yeah.
Yeah, let's just not
Um,
talk about that.
yeah. Uh, so yeah, but luckily we came back this week and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, oh, this is my show.
Yep. Here
I
we are.
forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot. I
Well,
was
sometimes you
surprised.
get to turn down the lights to see how bright it is, you know?
Very well put. Yes. Um, I was surprised because I thought maybe, okay, we got this little interstitial. Maybe it's also a time jump sort of thing. Cause it's like, okay, they were in pretty bad shape at the end of the last episode. They're on a boat. Maybe we pick up like a few weeks down the road and uh they're set up somewhere. It could be anything, and we're playing catch up with them. So I was a little surprised when we jump into the episode and it's like, nope, this is pretty much like seconds after we left them,
We
2 weeks ago.
here.
So, um, anyways, Mira using her smarts once again to heal them with the mud trick, which we've actually seen Spear do
Yep.
several episodes back. But that was cool. They get a little bit of a respite, but then, and again, surprising because I did not expect the payoff of,
Yep.
oh, they're literally right behind them. Like
Yep.
they're right on their trail.
Yeah, the show does not have a pacing problem.
No, not at all. So I think maybe I mistakenly, or maybe I misread, but I guess Eldar is meant to be the eldest son of the main Viking dude. I don't know what we're calling him now, but Viking, if you will. They show up, and the entire episode is pretty much an extended battle that is broken up just a bit after they get off the stormy seas. And I I don't know about you. I didn't catch this at first. I was like, what the hell is going on with Fang? I was like, what is she doing? I'm an idiot. And then,
Yeah.
it's not, it's literally, they do the flashback and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, the red dinosaur. I was like, okay. But dude, I don't know. I was not quick on the upkeep until she was
Yeah.
literally squeezing eggs out of herself. And I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, cool.
Yep.
Hell yeah. I was like, she's having babies and she's got
Yeah.
3 of them now. And yeah, I love the moment again, the tentative relationship between man and
Yeah.
his dinosaur when he's trying to help with the eggs and she immediately is like, fuck off.
Right.
No, like don't forget, I will eat you
Yeah.
to protect these kids. Just remember that.
I feel like
So
they needed to give us that though. It's been a rough season
that,
this far, and
yes,
just
no, that
yeah,
was such a nice moment. And the fact
watching
that
Spear
he's
be
so
that
excited
excited.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
it's so good. Yeah, I didn't catch on to it until like the nesting started happening, and then when I saw the
Yes.
flashback, I was like, oh, man, cool. Like, and I wasn't expecting a hopeful moment, to be entirely
I
honest.
know
Like,
we're
yeah,
almost pre-programmed to I'm watching this
yeah, like,
flashback and I'm like, oh yeah, it was so sad when
yeah,
she lost and had to kill the, like,
yeah,
the love of her life essentially.
mhm,
And then I'm like, oh, of course we got the whole love montage. Of course they made babies. That's so
oh
cool.
yeah, yep,
So, but now again, the heightening of stakes, I'm just like, well, now we got to protect those eggs at all fucking cost. And like, what are they going to
yep,
have to do to save these eggs? And again, they have 3, not 2 like she lost initially. It's like, are they giving us 3 eggs because they're going to kill one of them off? Like, what are they going to do, man? What are they going to do?
again, that's that pre-programming. You're like, and like raising the stakes like that is a brilliant move because now it's not just another extended fight sequence. We actually get
That,
like 2
yes,
fight sequences, and one is okay. They took on a lot more people than this. This is going to be fine. They're going to get out of this mess, and then they give them a second mess with more that they have to protect than just themselves. And
yes,
then yeah, when Spear throws himself over the nest, like right when all that's happening, I'm just like, oh man, oh that's a heart wrencher.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's, it's
it's kind of their little babies. And yeah,
yeah.
and I guess the third one is for Mira. They can all take, oh my
Everybody gets one.
dude, oh my god, yeah. But again, like, maybe they're going to be riding an army of dinosaurs
I'd watch that.
by the
I
end of
would watch that
this.
100%.
Absolutely. uh I was, of course, looking here for any signs that Mira is a little like, okay, I'm glad you're invested in these dinosaur eggs, but like, I'm still here.
Yeah,
But she seems pretty happy from
yeah,
what I'm reading off the facial expressions. There's no tension there. But I was looking
yeah,
for that. I was like, all right, are we going down this road? But I hope we're going
yeah,
down the road of Spear and Mira making some babies of their own.
yeah. I hope so too, but there's like it almost seems like I don't know if there's like a mutual attraction or if she's just like looking at him with like this endearing, oh,
I
you're a
think
puppy
it's
learning to climb the stairs,
I think it's been
Yeah.
very much very friendship based. Like
Yeah.
I've never sensed any sort of romance between
Mhm.
them, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if it somehow turns into the show's
Yeah.
version of that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, all the sweetness with the eggs and the potential of that maybe softens the blow of them having to murder yet
Yep.
another child that we're
Yep.
semi invested.
Yeah.
Brutal because of course like
Mhm.
when the main Viking is he Vidar? I is that the name of the episode is Vidar? I don't know what that means.
But I thought they might be
We
the
should
birds.
I
I
should
think
do
is
more. Maybe I
yeah.
should do more
Yeah.
research. But anyways, um, yeah, when he gets thrown uh from the heights essentially and like crashes through the forest and everything, I was like, oh, he's dead. But no, he's immediately getting up. So I was just like, what the hell? And then the just like thud.
Wop.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude.
Oh man.
Brutal.
They're
Brutal.
getting more and more brutal because they could have just killed dad and then
Yeah.
had son die. But no, they had to like have dad survive that to watch and then
Okay. So we
uh,
also get the moment of him by the fire, which is our
yep.
artwork for this week, by the way.
Mhm.
Just finished that up a few minutes ago. But there's the flash, the tease, I think the first one of head demon dude, like with the
Yep.
horns, man.
Mhm.
I don't know where we're headed with that, but like if he somehow becomes like this Viking becomes an emissary of that guy or like
Yeah.
harnesses his like evil power to like take them on,
Mhm.
I would be very worried. He's already a very like
Yeah.
imposing
Mhm.
like fighter, but I'm not so worried about our crew right now with the
Yeah.
three of them. But if he is on pure vengeance mode, like
Yeah.
I feel like he would go straight after those eggs. And again,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
that's the thing that they can be manipulated over. That's
Mhm. For
the
sure.
fulcrum, if you will. So
Yeah. It's an interesting
very
plot device,
very
just
worried. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what
Again, we
like
get this momentary bit of happiness
yeah.
to be like, oh, it's awesome that
Yeah.
they have them. But I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, this is terrible that
Yeah.
they have them.
We've also watched them overcome every obstacle, whether with various scrapes and bruises, but they've always come out on top. And
Yeah.
when you could just keep expecting that unless things change. And now they have, because it's, continued survival for somebody defenseless. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's real weird. I'm excited about it.
Oh, the and I think yes, you're right. They're basically like vultures, giant vultures.
Yep.
Those were pretty gnarly. I like the aerial
Yeah.
fight scene. We haven't really
Yeah.
had anything that extended on that. Yeah, we got sea and air this episode.
Yeah.
Both pretty dope battles. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying. I'm looking forward to the mix of
Mhm.
human and creature. Like we kind of get more of
Yep.
a tease of it in this
Yeah.
because they're riding mounts and everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the multi-scale. Another one of
Yeah.
the battles that they talk about possibly breaking the studio. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to that with tons of creatures and stuff. But
Yeah. I think there's an interesting dynamic about the birds when they were wrangling them and like showing that they were causing those birds physical pain kind of softened the blow of just them having to murder other people.
yeah,
It's I don't know. It was subtle, but I don't know why that is what sat with me. I was just like, oh man, that's kind of mean. All right, well, now I'm all right with you falling to your death.
yeah, yeah. And and to be honest, I didn't have as like I don't know. I naturally didn't have as much as investment as like that little kid who was like a
Yeah.
badass with the bow and arrow who then just like in 2 seconds gets his
Yeah.
skull crushed.
Yep.
Uh and the mom as well. Like I definitely was more invested in them. But
Oh yeah.
again, from the perspective of the dad, it's like, okay, he truly has nothing
Yeah.
left now,
And
like
now he has less than
absolutely
nothing.
nothing. And I again did not expect. I was like, oh, okay, they'll fight, but like there'll be a respite here, and
Yeah.
then we maybe won't see them for a bit. So when there's like a part two, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, but surely nobody's gonna die in this. So it
Yeah.
still caught me off guard, and I'm just like, I you need to stop underestimating the show.
Yeah, right.
Just
The amount that
they're
they can
gonna go
press
there.
into 21 minutes
I know,
is
dude.
insanity. Like
Crazy.
that almost felt like a movie
It
with
really did. Like,
the things that are going on. Honestly, it kind of like it followed all the same beats, just much quicker.
yeah,
It's
it
really
had a
good.
nice little 3-act structure to it for sure.
Yep.
And then again, we got that little tease of whatever we want to call that, the fire demon. But I look forward. I'm hopeful and terrified of whatever awaits us the rest of the season. And I
Yeah.
also include the fact that we may just all of a sudden dip back to
Yeah.
England in the 1800s.
Who
Uh,
knows?
but I would also be fine if, it's maybe next time we just hit another random date and it's something completely different.
More Primal Theory.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we got through it way quicker than I thought we would. But I think good that we
Yeah.
paired them together
Yeah.
because not a lot of like individual beats to hit. Really, like
Yeah.
Primal Theory is about as basic as it gets. But again, dude, I can't help but think I'm like that just felt like a Halloween special to me.
Yeah. I definitely
The
see
escaped
that.
inmate
Yeah.
like trapped in the mansion.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But I feel like they're too good to just drop something in the middle like that and not
there's something
make
there's
something of
something
it.
at play here. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll just be angry.
for sure. Well, what else have you been watching recently? Movies,
Um,
TV, whatever.
so I checked out Sword of Vengeance because you told me the Lone Wolf and Cub series is really good.
What'd you think?
Um, I I feel bad because I'm coming at it from I haven't really watched any of that classic Japanese cinema like ever. And I thought it was great, but it's kind of like hearing the Jaws theme for the first time when you've only heard it parodied.
Okay.
You know what I
No,
mean?
I
Like
I,
just
I
like
feel you.
yeah, yeah. But once I got past that initial kind of phase of it, I was like, the storytelling's incredible. The
Yes.
story's awesome, and just like the plot devices like they use were just great. Like the multi-tooled baby cart thing was
Oh, dude, you
probably
haven't
one of
even
my
seen
favorite moments.
you
Yeah,
haven't seen the full extent of what the
yeah.
baby cart can do.
That's
But
why I'm really ready to check out the rest of them.
you should just blaze
Yeah.
right through. Again, they're all like an hour and a half.
Yep.
There's basically like kind of like imagine 3 little mini runs of a manga like crunched into each movie. So you
Yep.
get these just like little tiny stories. You could watch
Yep.
them in 30-minute segments if you wanted to,
Mhm.
almost
Yeah.
like you're watching a TV show. But uh the action sequences, again, I can't get over. I like
Yeah.
anytime anybody's like, oh, what's a good action movie I probably haven't seen, I'm like, check out
Yeah.
the Lone Wolf and Cub movies because
Yeah.
again, they will make a meal out of like a a fight that is ultimately going to be like one move, like
Yep.
one slice of a blade, but you will
Mhm.
watch the sequence and be like on the edge of your seat, and then
Yep.
it's over so quickly that like that's why I love having them on Criterion Blu-ray is
Yep.
I can just run it back
It's
and
incredible.
watch
Yeah.
like just oh my god.
Yeah.
The
HBO has
second
all of them or something like that, right?
HBO has all of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely look up the order because HBO does not order them
Yeah.
correctly,
That's
and
why
the
I had to Google
subtitles
it
are
first.
insane. So yes, make
Yeah.
sure
I had
you're
to. They
following
all like.
vaguely the right order.
I've always been interested just because of just the titles, and I'm like, I feel like I would really like that. But
Yeah,
that was incredible. I
they
also
are
got
all a
to
blast.
see ET in IMAX
Yes.
this week.
Was
Yeah.
this your first time?
No, no. I'd seen ET when I was a kid. It gave me nightmares, so I saw it
Okay.
like once in like 1998, and then it was like, oh, it's classic movie. I'll go see it in IMAX, and it's actually really great.
Totally holds up. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
The reason I asked that, I'll totally out him on this podcast. Uh, Sunshine Mayfield, Alex to you and I, uh, he had never seen ET,
Oh
and
man.
he saw the 40th anniversary re-release last
Yeah.
weekend. But I've constantly teased him about the fact that he's never seen it. But I don't. It's one of those where I don't give him shit. I'm just like, dude, good for you because when you
Yeah.
do, like, you're gonna love it. It's one of the best movies ever made,
Yeah.
and like I wish I could unsee it. But yeah, I rewatched it. Uh, it had been a huge gap, but for the first
Mhm.
time, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, after seeing it a billion times when I was a kid, Gavin and I actually had the bedroom set
Oh
Like
yeah.
those beds, that those were
Mhm.
our beds because you could literally buy from the catalog. Like I want
Right.
the
The ET
ET
bed.
bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had that bedroom essentially, like,
Yeah.
or the bed structure at least. So um yeah, I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, okay, but you're older now. Like it is what it is, or whatever. I'm like, you're not. And then sure enough, dude, like 20 minutes in, I'm just like glued to it.
Yep.
And then like an hour past that, when it gets into kind of like the beginning part of the third act, I'm just bawling my eyes out once
Yep.
again. I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
here we go.
There we are.
Here we go. Yeah.
It's
So
a it was kind of amazing to see it in IMAX because you can it gave you an appreciation for what they had to deal with back then as far
yeah.
as visual effects and stuff and how they pulled it off.
hmm
Back then was
So
awesome.
was it the original, from what you understand, it was the original version, like remastered for IMAX now, as opposed to, because he did that like in the 2000s, he did that re-edit where he put
Yeah.
the walkie-talkies in. So was it
Yeah.
walkie-talkies or guns?
No, it was guns. It was
It was
guns.
guns. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he, unlike Lucas, he was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, never mind. People
Yeah.
didn't
You
like
can
that. I'll go back.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like in the opening shot, you can tell it's like an artist rendering. Like you can see the paint on the canvas type thing.
Right.
And so some of those were like I don't want to be pretentious about it. It kind of ruined it a little bit for me. I was just like, oh yeah,
Right.
this is film from the 80s.
Right.
But the storyline and all the practical effects, like the way they made ET move and animate that was incredible. And also there's a lot of stuff I didn't catch when I was younger. Like the fact that when ET drinks beer, Elliot gets drunk
Oh
in
yeah, they
class.
have
I
the
thought it was just
whole.
yeah, I thought he was
Oh
just
yeah,
acting
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
when I was a kid.
Oh, absolutely. No, as a
Yeah.
little kid, I agree. I didn't get
Yeah.
the connection of like the symbiosis or whatever going on between them. Uh Great movie. Yeah. I think I missed the run of it here. I did go see Nope again for a second time, but haven't been back to the theater since then. There's just nothing to go see, man.
Yeah, I still need to catch up on all the ones I should have seen. Yeah, but scheduling is always a fun time.
Yeah. Uh so the rehearsal is done.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul wrapped up, so I don't have that anymore. I'm
What are you
I'm
gonna do
just
with yourself?
I'm just watching What We Do in the Shadows on
Yep.
FX. Reservation Dogs also on FX, and that's like it for right now. Are you going to venture back into Westeros and watch House of the Dragon?
Yeah, I literally finished it this afternoon. It's
How was it?
I had the same emotions that I had from the first episode of Game of Thrones.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm still hesitant, but I'm way less cynical about it now. The way they're framing things,
After
yeah,
the pilot. Okay.
yeah. So the way
I'm
they're
gonna
framing things
consider.
just seems to work better than I thought it was going to.
Okay. I'm gonna continue to check in with you because I have already said in advance of this. I'm like, fool me once,
Yep.
shame on me, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I recently I skipped the whole fourth season of Westworld that was just on because I love the first one, tolerated the second one, and hate watched the third because I
Yeah.
was like so off the train at that point that I was like, by the end of the third one, I was like, I'm done. I'm not coming back. And I was blissfully unaware of the fourth season. Like I know it's been on. I know it's
Yep.
over now. I know some people were like, it's good again, but I was just like, I didn't hear enough
Yeah.
people saying that.
Yeah.
I'm still not gonna watch it. There's too much other stuff right now. And so I
Exactly.
was just like, I'm piecing out on this. And you know what? It felt great. It felt great to not feel like, oh, I'm like slavishly having to keep up with everything just because I'm already invested in it. Every once in a while, you just got to cut a show loose. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I totally understand that because I did the same thing with Westworld as well.
Yeah,
Like it's like got a perfect first season,
it's
and then
fantastic. And the second
yeah,
one, I was like, okay, I don't know about this, but still had some very high highs. And
yeah,
then the third season, I was just like, what are they? And again, I had said going into the third, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this. And then they released that teaser and they pulled me back in with Aaron Paul because I fucking
yep,
love Breaking Bad. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. And then I sat and watched that whole season and I was like, why? Why'd you do this to yourself? So I refuse to watch 4. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Let me know on House of the Dragon, but
Mhm.
I will be checking out Rings of
Yeah.
Power like from day one when that drops
Yeah.
on Amazon. I think that's next week.
Yeah.
So
Because again, they haven't fooled us yet. So
yeah, that's
uh,
and again, my expectations are like in the basement with that because
mhm.
the Hobbits were so bad,
Yes.
in
Well,
my
actually, okay,
personal opinion.
they have fooled us. Then
Yes,
I forgot about. I don't
but
think I finished them.
again, as I no, dude, I never saw what is it? Five Armies is the
Yeah.
last one, the
Yeah.
third part of the yes
Of the shortest book in the
of the
series.
shortest book. Yes, because I remember I saw the first one in theaters and I was like, this didn't quite recapture the magic, but okay. And then I saw the second one like with Barham, and we
Yeah.
made a fun time out of it, even though we
Yeah.
both kind of coming out of it were like, there's really one more of these. Like, there's another
No.
3.5 hours of this. Like,
Yeah.
really? And I never went back and I never completed the Hobbit. So,
And you shouldn't
but
have
again,
to, you know. Like,
they don't have anything. I guess Jackson probably gets money off of this, and I'm assuming it's Weta Digital doing the effects, but
yeah.
like he's not creatively involved, I don't think at all. Like I don't know who's show running the show,
Yeah.
but it does seem to have that aesthetic of they're operating in the Peter Jackson
Yeah.
visual universe. They're not trying to like do a different thing
Yeah.
in that vein. But
I did read something. I didn't read the. I think I was like scrolling through Reddit and I saw like a headline that said apparently he got ghosted by the studio when they asked him for like creative consultation. I think he said he had agreed to it and then just never heard anything back. So
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
again,
and I yes, I've heard that fans are not like excited about it, but I am like the most basic bitch when it comes to Tolkien. Like I
yeah,
read the original trilogy, I read The Hobbit, and I remember vividly in high school like Return of the King had come out and I was just like, all right, time to go even deeper.
yeah.
Silmarillion. And I tried to read the Silmarillion and I was just like, this is incomprehensible. This is
Yeah,
where my relationship
right.
to
It's
the Lord of the
so
Rings
hard.
ends. This is where I have
Yeah,
to step away. I was like, I can't go to the deeper level. I
yeah,
can't learn Elvish. I can't
mhm,
do it. I can't do
yeah.
all the short stories, guys. I just no.
Right.
So again, I am like, if it's a cool fantasy show in a realm and world that I'm vaguely familiar with, that then has characters that I get invested in, it could be really cool. And it looks very cool
Yes.
visually.
Mhm.
So I guess the thing is there going to be any there? I don't know,
Yeah.
but we'll find out. But that one,
Ex-
I'm gonna give a shot from the get go, and Thrones will I'll wait and
yeah.
see on. And then it would be nice
Yeah.
because like the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, I was late to the party, so I
Yeah.
binged all of that. And dude,
Mhm.
well, what a glorious time to be
Same.
binging
Dude,
HBO shows
it was
right
like the
then. Yeah,
greatest Saturday of my life. It was just like, oh, I guess I'll watch one of these episodes. Everyone's talking about it. Oh crap. And I spent 10 hours watching the entire first season in a day.
incredible.
And I again, I'm gonna go either way on it. It exceeded my expectations, but also my expectations were incredibly low.
Yes,
I think they set up a bunch of stuff that could be cool. We'll see what they do with it. I won't say I like it until I finish with the second episode.
fair enough.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I actually did not book any shows in September, so I'm giving myself and my bandmates a break. So the plan is to use all those Saturdays and Fridays to catch up on everything we've been talking about.
Oh, dude,
So yeah,
that sounds
every show,
fantastic.
every movie, I'm gonna do it because it's nice to only have to worry
Absolutely.
about one thing, you know?
Of course, dude. Yeah, we can start cranking out some non-primal related pods and chatting all sorts of other stuff
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Um, any other Rex? I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's a little bit of a dry spell right now as far as new shows,
Yeah.
but I feel like and same thing with movies right now, but there is stuff on the horizon I'm excited about. So we do get a new George Miller movie like this weekend. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
3,000 Years of
Yeah.
Longing.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna go check that out. Probably not gonna be for everybody, but I am very
It's
excited.
it seems like it was going that way. But again, I'd like to see it if I can. Who knows?
I mean, the man did give us the best action movie of our lifetime. So least we can do is go check out whatever he decides to do next, right?
And I will. Tilda Swinton is like one of a list of 10 like actors that if they're in it, I'm gonna go see it.
Oh yeah, no, she is my favorite actress in movies right now, period.
Yeah,
Literally anything she does. There's one I can leave you with. If you have never seen The Souvenir Part 1 and 2, she's a supporting character in them, but her actual daughter plays the main character, and she plays the mother of that character. Yes. Two of my favorite movies in recent memory. And you're gonna watch the first one and be like, "There's a sequel to this? What? Why would you?" It's just one of those movies you would never expect to have a sequel to it, but it does. Yes, those are two huge recommends. I feel like you would appreciate them as well, and we can discuss deeper. But I will give you as the most like vague surface reading. At the end of the day, they're kind of about why artists choose to create the art that they do, if that makes sense.
That sounds fascinating.
And then there's a lot of other stuff and like way deeper subtext going in there. But ultimately, it's one of those things where it's like, if I had to boil it down, it's like it's what motivates people to make to attempt to make art. What are they trying to achieve? Yeah.
I gotta psych myself up for those A24 films. Actually, I just IMDb'd it to see if it looked familiar.
These are two of the absolute best of the A24 output.
That's
probably two of the least A24 movies based on what you probably associate with A24.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that it's a distribution company. You're just like,
they're just a whole vibe. They're just a whole ass vibe, as the kids say. Yeah,
that's actually nice because I have a Showtime subscription. I got a student Hulu subscription to like save money on all my subscription services, and apparently like the student gives you Spotify Premium for like $5 instead of 10, and then also Showtime. So
I need to figure out how to fake that.
Dredge up an old .edu email. I don't think
I still have one. I still have my USC one active because I use it for a handful of things. Actually,
that should work then. Showtime's got the entire A24 catalog.
I didn't know they had. I knew HBO got like a bunch added recently, but I saw they didn't quite have everything. So Showtime has a bunch of shit. I need to get on there.
Yeah, my watch list is longer than my has watch list at this point, so I'm trying to catch up.
Okay. Well, keep me posted. Feel free to text whenever you finish something, or if you need a recommend, or if you're deciding between like, should I watch this right now or this?
Oh, most definitely.
I love to be of assistance. Okay. I think that's it. Everybody who was here for the Primal Talk probably already stopped listening by now. But for those of you that stuck around, thank you. I've been Noah.
Mikey.
And you've been listening to Primal Pod and Cast. Thank you very much. Before we totally go, sorry, anything you want to plug? I forgot to do this last week. And I should say my album did come out. Thank you to anybody who listened to it. It's called A Bridge. It is still, in fact, out and available now. You can still go listen to it because it's out now. But yeah, I go by nARK, lowercase n, all caps ARK on all the major services. And I do have a new single coming out tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, it comes out the 24th. It's called Foxgloves. It's a little lo-fi trip hop, and it is the lead single off of the forthcoming album Flowerhead, which I'm releasing on September 2nd. So keep an eye out for that. Anything you'd like to plug, sir?
I'd also like to plug Noah's album. I did not text you about this, but we listened to it on the drive down to Cincinnati, and it was a vibe in the best sense of the word. Like I think that's the only way I know how to describe. I'm
curious what kind of vibe it managed to create in a bus full of musicians. And did you make it through the whole thing? Was anybody like, can we turn this off? Like,
no. So everybody in my band loves music in all shapes, forms, and sizes. That's why I knew
that's very encouraging. A
yeah, I
safe
knew it was
space.
yeah, exactly. But
Thank you.
also, like, we were kind of exhausted, so we're just driving.
So you
and
don't
then,
want something you necessarily have to engage with, lyrically speaking.
yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, the weather was kind of cloudy, and it just kind of worked. Like as we were going, it's kind of like that thing where you start like Dark Side of the Moon at the right time, and it lines up with the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
That just happened as we were just passing these Midwest strip malls and other assorted flea markets down 75. It just worked really well. We all really enjoyed it. I meant to text you about it, but we were also very late.
That's so encouraging, man. Seriously.
Yeah, it was great.
That's great to hear. Well, I hope you guys will enjoy the next one. It is definitely way less weird, but very chill
Weird's
and
good,
very
though.
relaxing.
More people should make weird.
Yes. Well, I got plenty more where that came from. Just wait till we get to October.
Oh man,
you get some horror stuff coming your way. Okay. Anything else you want to plug? That was lovely, by the way. Thank you.
No worries. No, I think that's it. Again, we're taking a big old break in September, but we got
I think that's a great idea, so that you can help me generate more content in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to stop creating. I'm just going to do it in a different form.
Of course. Just catch up on that list. And yeah, thank you, everybody who stuck around this long. We will definitely be back next week, unless they give us a weird one that we have to contemplate for a whole week, in which case we might take a breather. But yeah, we'll let you know this time. I know I didn't say anything, but yeah, thanks for everybody who jumped back on here. We really enjoyed both of these episodes overall. Still don't know what to make of one of them, but it was an experience. So alrighty, until next time, thank you for listening.